Honestly, I'm trying to stay focused. You must think I got to be joking.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's well and keeping safe given the circumstances. I know it's been a long time and I did promise last time that I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible, but a few things happened along the way, and we're going to get into it in this video. Before we start, I firstly just want to give a big shout out to Bella Table, who is the sponsor of this video. I'm gonna be trying out some of their foods. I've got tacos today. I'm gonna try it and you guys are gonna get my reaction, and at the same time we're gonna have a chat and we're gonna talk about what's happened along the way, and why I've kind of been MIA and didn't keep to my promise. If I'm looking down throughout the video, it's because I've taken a few notes just so I don't miss out on anything. There's a few points I want to get across basically, and I really wanted to get that across in this video, so I don't really want to miss anything. And I just want to have like an open heart, genuine conversation with you guys, just to get a few things off my chest, but also just to keep you guys up to date with what's happening with me, because I know I keep saying, every time I come back on here, I keep saying I'm going to be consistent, but guys, do you know what? Life happens. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't ever miss a single post from me. And if you are coming back to my channel, welcome back. You're already part of the family, and hopefully together we can show the newbies around. Cool, so without further ado, let's get straight into the video. I've got my nice plate here, provided by Bella Lee. I've got tacos, I've got a nice salad. I promised myself that I'm going to try and watch my weight. That didn't really happen. Well, I've got a nice salad, I've got, tacos, and in my taco I've got mince. Yeah, basically all the good stuff. So, it looks very nice, very appealing. I do eat with my eyes first, and this definitely looks yummy, so I cannot wait to get tucked in. If you guys would like a platter like this as well, she does do other things as well. She puffs, whatever it is that you want, roast chicken, barbecued meat, anything. She does actually provide a great service. I've tried her out personally a few times. Birthday parties, anything like that. She does cater to a whole heap of occasions. So don't, feel free to follow her and, speak to her, tell her that I sent you to get yourself a little cheeky discount. Tell her that I sent you. Yeah, on Instagram, she is Bella_table. I'm going to put all of that in the description box, and also it's going to pop up somewhere on the screen for you guys to follow her. Hair also is provided by Consoluxehair. I'm going to put her details on the in the description box as well, so make sure to check her out as well if you are interested in where I got my hair from. I'm not really going to talk about my hair in this video, so yeah. So let's just have a little taste. It looks really good. Like, it looks, I can't even lie, like, it looks really good. So let's have that's really good. It's like sweet and savory at the same time, but it's really tasty. Let's talk about where I've been, what's happened, and why I haven't really kept to my promise per se about being consistent. So, as most of you would know, my last video that I posted on my channel was around I would say last March, kind of in and around when the pandemic first started. I know that we're a few months in now, almost a year. It's going to be the pandemic anniversary very soon. So almost a year now since I posted my last video, and I really wanted to be very consistent, and I did come on here and I really wanted to give it my all and give YouTube a real shot. A few things happened along the way. We're going to address the elephant in the room. I lost my dad last April. basically. So I posted a video around mid or last week of March, and then there was a whole load of thing going on. Myself and my family kind of went through a rough patch, and it was a lot. It was really a lot. It was a lot for anybody, and let alone myself. I'm the type of person that kind of panics generally anyway. I overthink things, and with taking that on, it was kind of a lot for myself to be focused on YouTube and to deal with what was going on in my personal life. So as I said, I lost my dad last April, and it's taken some adjusting. It's definitely taken some adjusting. I'm not saying that I'm by any means there or like over the situation, but it's definitely taken um, a lot of courage, I would say, and a lot of adjusting, a lot of doing things that you wouldn't normally do, a lot of taking on responsibilities that you wouldn't otherwise have unless faced with a situation as such. So, many will ask, how am I doing, or how are we doing? I'm really hoping that one day I will get the opportunity to sit here, um, with my family and talk about how we've coped and what we've kind of done to get us through this difficult times. We're by no means out of the woodworks, but I think we've done well considering, um, given the situation. Basically, I think we've all done well. I think everybody's kind of taking it in their stride to um, be there for each other. So I think on that note, I wanted to talk about grief, because that's something that a lot of people are experiencing recently. With the whole COVID thing, we have to talk about it. It's the times that we're living in. It's what we're having to face. It's what we're having to go through. A lot of families are losing their loved ones, so we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I feel like it wouldn't be right for me to sit here and kind of just act like nothing's happened, knowing what's gone on behind closed doors. And you never know who it might help. You never know who's going through the same situation. And I've really had that inside of me to kind of just talk about it, because I saw a post recently of someone who lost their mum, and I could relate to that post. So I didn't know if it was fair for me to come here and talk about, other things, knowing exactly what I've gone through. I've had people say to me like, you don't talk about it much, or you seem to be doing all right. Like, is everything actually okay? Because what you've gone through, people usually, you know, talk about it. Like, people open up about it. So the fact that we haven't really heard you say much on it is a bit strange. It's a bit strange to some people. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about it, and I really want this to be as open as possible. I want to be as open as possible. Obviously, I'm not gonna give all the details. I still think that some things are very personal, and they need to be, I want to keep that for my privacy and for my family's privacy. What I can say is that it was due to COVID. We have to be honest, and um, that's something that I've been struggling with, especially with everything that's been going on, with what people are talking about, like, having to wake up knowing that you've lost a loved one, like, someone very close to you. It's not like in fact, it doesn't matter who it is that you've lost. A loss is a loss, and I feel like it's having to wake up and listen to people saying things like, "Oh, it's not that deep. Eat your vegetables," or do this, and why can't you just get over it? Or yeah, it's not that deep. Basically, like, having to hear people say that, I don't know, like, it kind of crushes my heart, because it's like, you're saying that because you haven't gone through it, and if you did go through that situation, I feel like your language would be different, and I don't really want anybody to go through that to be able to understand how deep it is. I don't want anybody to ever have to learn the way that we did, because I was once one of those people. I felt like, yeah, this is all a conspiracy theory, and it's all of that. It's, the truth is, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter, conspiracy or not. There is something out there that is killing people. It's killing people's mums, granddads, and I was saying to my sister the other day that a lot of people who are saying these things, it's just because you turn on the news and you're watching the news channel and it's like, oh, 100,000 people have died, and to you it's just 100,000 people. It's just a number. But to us, it's my dad, for example. It's someone's grandma, it's someone's sister, it's someone's brother, and we've really got to, acknowledge the fact that this is real, and people are losing people close to them. And just because it hasn't knocked on your door, it doesn't mean that it isn't real. So we really need to be considerate, um, about what we're saying. And even if I don't believe in it, I don't think I would be telling anybody that this isn't real, or don't send them to the hospital. Don't do this and don't do that, because that's something that we had to deal with. Like, don't do this and don't do that. You should do this and you should do that. All these things, I promise you, are so much easier said than done. Like, it's so much easier for you to say, why didn't you take them to the hospital? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you give them hot water? Why didn't they take the vitamins? It's so much easier to say, when you're not in that position, when you're not in the receiving end. So, with that said, we've that's what I've been dealing with behind closed doors, and it's been really hard. It's been really, 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 really hard, and at times I felt like I can only speak on myself. I know that maybe each one of my family members probably have had a different experience, and that's also what I want to talk about. The fact that grieving isn't a straight road. It's not A to B and B to C. It's not that easy. I wish it was, and I wish there was a manual on how to grieve and what to do and things like that. But it's not that easy. It's not as easy as, oh well, you've buried him now. You should be over it, or you should start healing, or why don't you just not think about it? It's literally not that easy. And I've been that person on the outside looking at people who have lost their loved ones saying, oh, surely they can just get over it, or surely they can just why can't they just move on, sort of thing. I genuinely wish it was that easy. I really wish it was that easy. If it was, trust me, we would be having a different conversation right now. But it's not that easy, and there's different steps to it. And I've been doing my own research over time, and then there's some that I did. There's a few points that I wanted to kind of talk about, which I think is really important for people to understand. And sorry if I'm looking down, but I've got a few notes on my phone that like I said at the beginning, I really want to get these points across, and I don't want to miss anything, because I feel like it's such an important topic to talk about. So I want to talk about the period that I went through feeling confused. Like, I felt like I didn't know what's going on. I did not know what's going on. Like, for example, with the passing of my dad, I was the one that received the call to say he's passed. That's a lot. Like, it's definitely a lot. And I remember, like, putting the phone down and thinking, yeah, like, okay, what, like, it just didn't hit me. Like, after that phone call, it just did not hit me at all. And like, I still feel like even now, like, I can't talk about it without getting like that lump in my throat. So just bear with me, because it's gonna take some time. Because like I said, I'm still healing. We're all still healing, and we're all still healing. It's very fresh. It's very fresh, and some may say, yeah, it's a year soon, and trust me, for like people who are going through it, it still feels like it was yesterday. Like, it literally still feels like it happened yesterday. And so I want to talk about the times where I went through feeling confused, like just confused about everything. And the funny thing is that it doesn't directly affect you in a sense of like, yeah, I've just lost someone, so I'm gonna deal with grief. It literally affects your whole life. Like everything stops. And I remember going through this phase of like just feeling confused. Nothing made sense. Like nothing. When I mean nothing made sense, nothing at all made sense. Like I just didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to hear anybody because I felt like you're not even making sense. Like if this situation in my life doesn't make sense, you're definitely not making sense, and I definitely don't want to hear it. So yeah, I went through a period of like just feeling confused about everything, like my feelings and um yeah, like what is going on? Like I said, I took that phone call, and obviously I heard what they said. My dad had passed, but I think even the next day when I woke up, I was still like, okay. And I remember saying to myself, actually, maybe I need to call the hospital. Like maybe I didn't hear them properly. Maybe I need to kind of hear what they've got to say again. Like maybe I didn't quite grasp what they said when I think the message was pretty clear. Like I think they made it very, very, very clear. And yeah, and then that's another thing to consider as well. Like these um, medics or these nurses and doctors are working day in and day out to try and accommodate everybody. Really, it's really tough. I think we've got to be fair in saying that we are all going through something that we've never had to experience before. Yes, there were like pandemics back in the day, but none of us were alive back then, and none of us got to experience it. So it's a really tough thing to live through, and I commend them for going in every single day and you know accommodating families, accommodating these patients, and just doing the best they can. Um, so yeah, I remember just feeling confused, and I just felt like nothing made sense, and I just wanted to call them back and just hear them maybe say, oh, do you know what we said last night it was wrong. We didn't mean it. We didn't get the information right, or it was the wrong person, or sorry, we didn't mean, like, basically just going through that. And I just want to say to somebody that's going through the same thing, there's a lot of stages that I will go through, and maybe this video will have to be in two parts, but I'll try and cover as much as I can in this video. If you are feeling confused, it's absolutely normal. It's like, it's so normal. Um, we'll talk about all the other stages as well. But confusion is definitely, I think, almost the first state that everybody goes into. Like, what on earth just happened? Like, how is somebody so alive one day and just, you know, lifeless the next? And I think every single day, like, we are reminded of our mortality, like how fragile the human life actually is, like how somebody could be laughing and dancing one day and just cold and just lifeless, just laying there the next day. So it's very important. I went through that phase. I really felt confused about everything. Nothing made sense to me, and yeah, and you get over that, and I feel like you kind of just have to let yourself go through the motions. Like, just, okay, confusion was one, but at the time, I didn't think, all right, cool, this is definitely part of grieving. In the first instance, you kind of just think, okay, well, yeah, this is all confusing. What just happened? Like, it didn't even register. Like, up until the point where, people were making phone calls saying, like, yeah, he's definitely passed. It still didn't register to me. Like, I just felt like, this must be a joke. Like, you people are joking. This is definitely a joke. Um, but it wasn't. And that kind of goes into the next phase that I went into. So after feeling confused, um, comes kind of like the next step. I remember just feeling demotivated. Obviously, understandably, whilst we're going through all of this, I couldn't just switch on the camera and, you know, carry on with my life as normal. Most people do, and that's that. that's another thing. People grieve differently. Some people find it easier to just switch on the camera and start talking and things like that. So I just felt demotivated and I didn't feel like doing anything. Like I just didn't feel like doing anything. So you end up being in a state where you're eating a lot. And we were quite fortunate to have a lot of people around us during this period. But um, the weirdest thing is though, even though you have all these people around you, you kind of still feel like you're alone because it's the state of mind that you're in, and you still feel like physically there's all these people that you can see. There's all these aunties, uncles, friends, friends and family that are around you to support you. But mentally you really do still feel alone. You feel like there's nobody here. Like, it's weird, I can't even explain it. It's like there's all these people here but you still feel alone. Like, you still feel like, why are you all even here? Because nobody understands. Like, nobody understands what we're going through. And like I said, I've got siblings and stuff like that, and we've all experienced the same, how can I say, it's the same trauma. Basically, we've all gone through the same experience. We've all lost our dad. But like I said, it's like, I can't really speak for them, but I know that I definitely felt like there's all these people here. Yes, I've got my brother and I've got my sister, and we've all lost our dad, but everybody it just felt like you were still alone. Like, everything, your world kind of just stops. Literally, like, your world just stops, and you literally don't consider people, and you don't consider anything, and it's kind of like everything is just background noise, and you're constantly living in this trance, like you're just in your own world and nothing makes sense. And nothing makes sense basically. So you kind of just feel alone and you feel demotivated. I didn't feel like doing anything. More time, I didn't even feel like getting up. You don't even feel like getting up. You don't feel like talking. I definitely have, like I said, I'm blessed enough to have had a great support system. But even with that, it's just, you don't feel like talking, you don't feel like eating, you don't feel like laughing. You feel like laughing is wrong. Remember that there is no particular order. Like, you can go from anger to denial, or you can go from denial to anger, or like things like that. But I feel like I definitely went through the motions, and I went through denial, and then I was just angry. Everything and anything got on my nerves. Like, I was just annoyed. I was angry. I was angry at anything. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at the world. I was angry at God. And we have to be honest. Like, we have to be honest. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at life. I was angry at everything. I just felt like, how is this even fair? Like, how is this even fair? In my eyes, sorry, dads are supposed to live forever. Like, they're just immortal. So how has this happened? How is this even fair? Like, why him? Why, and at the time I remember, honestly speaking, there was like all these videos of people that had gone into hospital and they would come out, and I remember it would break my heart. Like, it would literally crush my heart every time. I remember I had to delete Instagram at one point because I just felt like, honestly speaking, why do they get to come out and like my dad doesn't? And it's just, it's a lot. Like, you definitely go through that phase, and you just feel like, how's this even fair? Why him? And then you go through the stage of like bargaining. Okay, so this is like what psychologists believe are the stages of grieving, right? So the first one is denial, the second one is anger, and the third one is bargaining. And I kid you not, like, when I was kind of doing research on this, and I thought, oh my God, like, this is literally what I was going through. And so you literally go through a phase where you feel like you would give anything in this life to get that person back. Like, you would give anything in this life to get that person back, or to get that situation back, because you've got to remember, grieving just isn't about losing a parent or a mum, a dad, or a sister, a brother, or a sibling, or anything like that. There's people who grieve relationships. Like, losing somebody in your life is like yeah, you go through that stage where you're like, oh my gosh, like I would do anything to get this man back, or I would do anything to get my dad back, or my sister back, or my uncle back. You would literally give anything, anything like in the world to get that person back. And you also go through like that feeling of guilt. I know that talking to my siblings, I think we've all kind of gone through that. There is so many things that we all wish that we said and we did and understood. You know, with my dad, he was the kind of person where like he was a man of few words, but every time he did talk, they were very powerful and effective. So he, yeah, again, it was hard. It was hard knowing that, you know, he we didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do. I know that it's always been a dream of mine to walk down the aisle and for my dad to walk me down the aisle, and it's the realization of like, okay, I will never get that. Yeah, you might get an uncle that walks you down the aisle, or you might get your brother that walks you down the aisle, but it's just, it's not the same. It's really not the same. And it's just realizing that you will never get that. Like, you will never get that. And you have to, you know, sit there and watch videos, or, you know, listen to your friends talk about, you know, their dads and how, you know, I don't know, like, it's just, it's really sad. Like, it's a sad time, and you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, or you can, I don't know, like, people take it differently, but it was really sad. I know that for me it was a really sad time, like, just sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, like, I would never get that. And to some people it might seem like it's something so small and something, you know, so little and not important, but it's important. Like, these things, they hurt, and they are like, they're real. They're like, this is real. This is the reality that we are having to live, knowing that, you know, he like, I don't know, like, he won't be there. Like, your children, for example, will not have a granddad, at least not from your side. You know, obviously if your partner's got a dad, then they've got a granddad on that side, but on your end at least, then they will never have that. And that's, I don't know, that's something that it hurts. It hurts. So you go through, like, just like I said, bargaining and wishing that you could get that. You could get what everybody else gets, what every girl gets, and things like that. So you kind of, yeah, you're just like, I would give anything. Like, I would give my life right now to kind of see them again, even though it doesn't make sense, because if you, yeah, so it's difficult. It's difficult, and you go through that. And then there's the step after that is, I think it's the taboo in, like, our households, especially being of African descent. It's definitely a taboo topic. You do go through depression. You definitely go through depression, and I think when people think about depression, they think about, I don't know, like, the extreme end of it. But, you know, depression is literally like, it distorts your version of reality, as in, like, you're just not yourself, and nothing makes sense, and nothing looks like what it used to look like. And, you know, you don't really understand. You don't understand a lot of things, and nothing makes sense, basically. And you're just at a stage where it's basically, I think depression is basically all the three stages that we spoke about previously in one. Like, you're in denial, you don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything, you're demotivated, you're bargaining, you're just wishing, you're guilty, you know, you want a different outcome, you're just wishing and hoping that there was a different outcome. And, you know, with that, you just can't see how you can get on with your life. You don't see how anything makes sense. You don't see why you should be allowed to get up in the morning and go about your business. You don't even see why you're breathing. It's literally that deep. You don't understand why you're still alive and that person didn't get to live. So you do go through depression, and I know that it's one of those topics that people really don't want to talk about, and I think we should talk about it. I know, for example, it's like, in in most households, it's you know, in most African households, but I don't want to say Africans because I don't know how everybody else deals with it in their culture. But I know for a fact in my culture, it's it's almost frowned upon. Like depression is kind of almost immediately seen as you're not praying enough, you're not strong enough, you're not like it's real. Like you it's like almost like your mental state is not looked at. Like nobody really looks at it as in like, okay, this girl's just gone through something, she's just going through the motions. Like this is natural. It is natural for you to go into a depressive state where you don't feel like doing anything, you don't feel like talking to anybody, nothing is making sense, everything is just dark and gloomy, and you just want every day to be over and over and over and like as quickly as possible. Like I wake up in the morning and I just feel like, what? Like I have to go through another day? Like that's how I felt every day. I woke up and I felt like, what? Like I have to go through another day of like not having a dad. It's mad. Like I wake up and I think, not this again. This is long. Like I don't want to do this. And you find yourself laying in bed. I remember like I put on some weight because all I did was eat, sleep, and then obviously you have people there that distract you for like a few minutes. But then you eat, sleep, repeat, eat, sleep, repeat, eat, sleep, repeat, because you're just like trying to avoid dealing, like facing the actual issue, like addressing the elephant in the room. You don't want to do that because you just think, yeah, that I'm not ready to talk about that right now. And luckily for me, which is why I really wanted to do this video as well, we were lucky enough to kind of have people. I don't know if to call it lucky because, yeah, I don't know if to call it lucky, but we had people who had also gone through the same thing that could actually relate. Because that's another thing about this situation. It's like you want to talk to people, you want to talk to your partner, you want to talk to your friend, for example, but the times where you want to talk about it, they don't necessarily want to talk about it. And then you don't want to talk about it with them because you don't want to bore anybody with feeling like, oh gosh, not your dad again. Like we yeah, okay, yeah, like you're sad, because you can't really blame them because they don't really understand, you know? They don't really understand. And yeah, at this point it's kind of like you have to pick yourself up. Like, you know, you have to pick yourself up and you have to do this for yourself and, you know, for I don't want to say so much on people who are relying on you, because we don't want to do that. We just want to allow ourselves to feel certain things and just get on with it. And yeah, like more time, like I was saying, in our households, we're just like we're kind of just told to bottle it up. Like, okay, yeah, all right, well, it's sad, but you guys, okay, pick it up. Like it's sad, but you kind of need to get on with it. And I want to say to somebody, don't do that. You don't have to get over it quickly. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you ever get over it. I don't think you ever get over it. I just think that it becomes a lot easier to talk to you. Like right now, I can sit here and I can talk. Like I can talk about it. You know, I still get the odd lump in my throat here and there, especially when you start talking about, you know, the memories and things like that. But it's definitely easier to talk about. And I remember before, like immediately after, I couldn't even watch videos of my dad. I couldn't hear his voice. I didn't want to hear it. Like I couldn't, if somebody was watching a video where I could hear his voice, oh, it triggered me. Like it literally triggered me. I could not do it. I didn't want to hear anything like that. And yeah, like I was saying, you do go through depression and you want to talk to people, but then you think nobody wants to hear that. Like it's sad. I don't want to. Like you want to open your mouth, but then you think, oh well, they heard that yesterday, and I don't really want to bore them with that. I don't really want to talk about losing my dad all the time. Like it's boring. Like I don't want to bore anybody. So you end up bottling things up, and you don't really want to. You don't really want to talk to anybody because you want to spare them as well, because a lot of people don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do. I've got friends that don't know what to say to me. Like they see me and it's like they want to ask you, oh, how are you doing? But they don't know when is the right time. They don't want to talk about your loss. They don't want to. Basically, people think that. I don't know. Like people think. I don't know. Like I don't want to bring that back up, or I don't want to make them think about it. But all you do is think about that. So technically, there's never a right time. There's never a right time to ask anybody how they're doing. I think it's actually the opposite. We want to be checked upon. We want people to tell us about, we want to talk to people about how we're feeling and stuff like that. And sometimes you just want to talk to people without hearing anything back. That's why I feel like for me, this is like, it's a brilliant outlet, because I'm talking and I'm getting it all off my chest without hearing everybody telling you, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I do feel like as well, you can't be like, sometimes I don't want to hear that everything is going to be okay. I don't want to hear it. Like, like as sad as it sounds, I don't want to hear it, because it's like, how can you guarantee that it will be okay? How will it ever be okay? Like, not having a dad. How will it ever be okay? Like, it would never be okay. It's never okay. It's just not going to be okay. But people will tell you that because it's what they know, and it's how you're told to deal with grief. Like, yeah, it will be okay, but it won't. It would definitely be easier. It would be easier to talk about. Like it becomes easier for you to talk about things. You start to think more on the good side of the good things that the experiences that you had, rather than things that you miss. So so you definitely go through depression. And I remember my one was weird. Like I went through stages where I remember I took a lot of time off work, and then when I went back to work, or even like at home, like you talk to people, and it's almost like every opportunity you get to talk, you can't stop. You literally cannot stop. Like when I start talking about my experience, I can't stop talking. Like it's almost like you've always got this thing that you need to get off your chest, and you need to talk to somebody. And as soon as somebody gives you the opportunity to talk, you just keep going. You talk and you talk and you talk and you talk, and that's it. And before you know it, you definitely do feel better. So that's also another thing that I want to say to somebody that's going through the same thing. Talk about it. Like, talk about it. And if you feel like you don't want to hear anything, just let the person know. Like, listen, I just want to talk to you today, or I just want to talk about this, but I don't want to hear anything. I'm not asking for advice. I just need to get a few things off my chest. And hopefully the other person will understand. But what I found also works for me is that I wrote things down. So I wrote my feelings down, in my notes. I wrote my feelings down, and I find that it really helps, because it's almost like advising yourself. So you talk to yourself, and reading it back is kind of like you talking to a friend, and then you're able to look at things from the outside rather than you talking to yourself. So write things down, talk about it, find somebody that you can talk to, that's someone that you can talk to, that you can trust, and that can make you feel comfortable, or someone that you can talk to that doesn't make you feel like you're annoying, or a shoulder to lean on, basically. And I'm fortunate enough to have that. I know that a lot of people genuinely have nobody, and I feel like in that case, I would advise people to seek professional help. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you speaking to a professional, because the auntie down the road is not going to tell you what you're going through. Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to hear, oh, you're not spiritual enough, you're not praying enough, and things like that. We can pray, but we need to remember that, these are people who God has appointed, people God has given these doctors the intelligence to be able to help you through these situations. So talk to them, talk to a professional, and you would usually get an unbiased opinion, because this is somebody that doesn't know you from anywhere. You don't know them, and you don't feel the guilt of, like, that you're not going to talk to them, and then your auntie or your uncle is going to know about what you've spoken about, or it's not going to come across as weak or anything like that. Like, we need to be able to admit when we need help. So speak to a professional if if it's all becoming too much. If you can write things down and it helps, by all means do it. If you can talk to somebody and that helps, by all means do it. But if you need professional help, do it. Like, do it. It doesn't matter. You need to kind of take matters into your own hands. Like, it doesn't matter what everybody else's opinion is on getting professional help, because I know that is usually frowned upon. But if it helps you, do it. By all means, do it. And I know I'm rambling on a bit, so this like I said, it might have to be a two-part video. But the last part that I want to touch on in this video is acceptance. Accepting what's happened, accepting that there's nothing you can do about it. There is nothing that you could have done about it. There is nothing that anybody could have done about it to change the situation. I feel like I've kind of gone in and out of acceptance. I feel like there's sometimes where I kind of accept that there is nothing we could have done to save my dad's life. There is nothing more we could have done to save my dad's life, and we did enough, basically. And it's hard. I feel like sometimes we do accept that we did enough, but then there's times where we're just like, if we had just done this a little bit sooner, or if we just done that a little bit sooner. Like I said, I don't really want to talk too much on it, because like I said, hopefully one day I will get the opportunity to sit here with my family and talk about it, because like I said, it's not just me who's gone through it. It's my family as well, like my whole family. And I really hope that one day we can get to share it with you guys. But like I said, I go in and out of acceptance. And the funny thing is, sometimes when you think you've gone through the motions and you're almost at acceptance, you kind of go back to depression again. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. Take your time. There's no, like I said at the beginning, I wish there was a blueprint to this. I wish there was a guideline to this. I wish there was some kind of timeline that you definitely follow, that you can go through, but there isn't. And that's the reality of it. And you kind of just have to make it, your own experience. It is your own experience. You will deal with it differently. As long as we remain individuals, we will forever deal with situations differently. And like I said before, even though me and my siblings have gone through the same ordeal, we've all dealt with it differently. We've all dealt with it differently. Some people prefer to be alone. Some people prefer to speak. Some people and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. But what you don't want to do, expect everybody to react the same. Don't do that. Don't look at somebody and think, oh, well, you lost your dad like a year ago, you should be over it now. Because I feel like there's some people that did that with me. It was almost like everybody was there for you until the burial, and then it was like, well, you've buried him now, why are you still sad? What? But I don't blame them. Again, I can't blame anybody, and it's life. Sadly, we're all gonna have different experiences, and we're all gonna deal with it differently. But like I said, I go in and out of acceptance, so I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. I'm still going through the motions. Sometimes I take 10 steps forward, and then I take 10 steps back. But what I will say is that talk. The people around you are not mind readers. They're not just gonna know. If you're lucky enough to be in a relationship, talk to your partner. I would hope that your partner is understanding and they understand. And I would hope that they understand. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who's gone through the same thing, because like I said, I still felt like I was alone. Even though I wasn't the only one who went through this situation, I still felt like I was alone. And some of us found it easier to speak. Some of us found it easier not to speak and just ignore the situation. But knowing what I know now, I would definitely say that it's a really good thing to speak. And like I said, if you have a partner, if you're lucky enough to have a partner that you can talk to them, and hopefully that they can understand. But also, you need to understand that you can't blame them. Like, you can't expect them to feel exactly how you feel. Like, I feel like that's the mistake that I made. I expected people to feel exactly how I feel, and they're not going to. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they care about you any less. It's just that, given that they haven't gone through the experience themselves, there's only so much they can do, you know. And I feel like everybody definitely tries. They try their best. The ones that, you know, genuinely care, at least. They're not mind readers. Speak up when you feel like not talking. Tell your friends, tell your boyfriend, tell your girlfriend that you don't feel like talking right now. Like, everything is long. You feel like you're just going through the motions, and maybe you need time, and maybe you need space, and you know, that's also perfectly fine. You shouldn't feel judged, or you shouldn't feel like that's something that you can't talk about. I know that, for example, my way of dealing with pain is I laugh about things a lot. Like, I could be hurting, like I'll laugh about it and then go to my room and just cry my eyes out, like, all night, and nobody will know about it, and I'll come out and still live my life normally. But I have had a few people say to me, like, I don't know why you're laughing, like, I don't think it's funny, but that's how I deal with pain. I think I prefer to just push it to one side, but then when it does catch up with me, I just explode. I explode on all levels, like on everybody. Nobody above blocking. Nobody's above blocking. I go mad at everybody, anything and everything. Nobody is an exception. Like, yeah, I kind of just take everything down with me. So, I now know that that's not a good way of dealing with things. I should definitely talk about it, and I think you should also talk about it if you're going through the same thing. And yeah, try to do things to keep your mind off it. I will go more in depth in a different video, but that's kind of just something that I wanted to get off my chest. And on the matter of this whole COVID thing and whatever is going on around the world, I genuinely feel like unless you are a medical expert, we don't want to hear it. You know, especially not people who are definitely having to deal with grief and definitely having to deal with losing somebody, you know, due to this virus. We don't want to hear it. So everybody, I understand it's a freedom of speech. Everybody's allowed to speak, but please be mindful of who you're saying it around. You know, you can have your own opinion, but do you really need to be telling all of us that this is a conspiracy theory, that they're killing people in the hospitals? We've got enough on our plate. We've got enough to deal with, and we don't need you to tell us that this is all a conspiracy, because to us it's clearly not a laughing matter. We're definitely going through the motions. We're grieving. We're hurting. The world is hurting. That we're not the only people going through this. I know that there's many families that I know personally that are hurting. I know people personally who have had the virus, and it's definitely not a laughing matter. So I think that we should really be careful on what we're saying and who we're saying it to, and just watching our environment. You know, you can express yourself, but assess your environment. Is it really necessary? Do I need to say this? If you don't feel like the virus is real, that by all means, it's not real to you. And if you feel like, you know, you don't want to take the vaccine, or you do want to take the vaccine, by all means, like, do it or don't do it. We don't really care. We really just plead and ask that everybody is responsible, and this is the time where we all need to be as selfless as possible. We have the tendencies to be very selfish, as in, like, I'm not affected, so yeah, this is all definitely fake. Don't find out the hard way, because like I said, I was definitely one of those people that thought, yeah, this is all long. It's rubbish what they're talking about. And sadly, I had to learn the hard way. Don't be like me. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's the most annoying pain on this planet. Like, it's just one of those things that you want to go away, but you know that it will never go away, and you kind of just have to deal with it. It's like waiting to wake up from a nightmare, then you realize, oh, hold on, this is actually my reality. So just be mindful, you know, be selfless, look after one another, check up on your friend, check up on your mom, check up on your dad, you know, cherish them, cherish the people that you have with you today, because you never know when it's going to be their last day or when it's going to be your last day. So, you know, live your life, fear God, and yeah, just do the best that you can as a human being to consider other people's feelings. Like I said, this is definitely something that I wanted to get off my chest. Just feel free to comment or DM me. I will put my socials down below. If you've definitely gone through the same thing, comment down below. Let me know how the experience has been for you, what you've done to kind of heal, and are you still healing, or have you come out on the other hand? Let me know, you know, how you're dealing with it. Basically, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to teach myself and educate myself on this thing, on this topic. And like I said, seek medical help if you are feeling some type of way. I think let's not be ignorant. Let's not be ignorant. We know that there's something out there, whether you believe it or not. There's something out there, and it's obviously killing people. So check on your sisters, your mums, your dads, your siblings. Look after them, cherish your relationships, and yeah, just know that there's nothing that's worth the amount of stress that we put on ourselves sometimes. Yeah, forgive one another, love one another, tell each other that you love them whilst you're still alive. Don't wait for somebody to be dead cold for you to be like, oh, I really loved you, I wish I told you I loved you, I wish I did this. Tell them. If you love somebody, if you care about them, tell them. And you know, there's no harm in that, really. Just be open and be loving and be caring. So that's all that I had today. Like I said, it was a bit, I couldn't really eat and talk. I think everybody can kind of understand that I got in my feelings a bit there, and I'm very proud of myself, first of all, for going through the whole video without tearing up, because I definitely on few occasions there had that big lump in my throat. But I'm very proud of myself. Like I said, it does get easier to talk about. You start to focus more on the positives rather than the negatives. But who knows, I might wake up tomorrow and be upset the whole day. That's just part of it, and I'm learning to accept and understand that. So yeah, thank you so much. If you've made it to the end of this video, you are amazing. And yeah, I'm very grateful that you've sat and listened to my story, and I hope that it's helped somebody, and I hope that somebody's you know, felt like they can relate. And just to know that you're not alone. Like I said, if you have something that you want to share about, you can comment it down below, or you can reach out to me in my socials. And yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get a routine. I'm trying to get back into the routine. I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm definitely going to try and be consistent at something, because I feel like having a routine also helps. So yeah, I'm going to try and have a filming schedule. I am part of a podcast at the moment, which is very interesting. It's also on YouTube. It's called Be My Guest Show. And I'll put the details in the description box as well. There's yeah, so we post every Monday, so you can check that out as well. It's really great. We talk about current issues and life and everything. Check that out. It's very interesting. We aired our first episode last week, and this Monday we'll have a next one for you on hot topics, current topics. And yeah, it's really exciting. Like I said, I'm really trying to do things to keep my mind occupied and to keep my mind off this. So be sure to check that out, and yeah, subscribe to my channel. And I'm really trying to grow. I want to show you guys more. I want to talk you know, about more things. I want to share my experiences and things like that. But obviously we can only do that if we grow together. Like I said, again, thank you so much for reaching the end of this video. I really do hope to see you next. If you want to see a part 2 of this video, maybe I'll try and get my siblings on there so you can get a variety of opinions and yeah, their view and how they've been coping with it. But be sure to comment below and like, press the notification bell so you don't ever miss a post. And yeah guys, thank you so much. I hope you stay safe, stay blessed. I will see you